Welcome to TV20 Classic Sports. I'm your host, Christian Patterson. From all-star matchups to championship games, we've reached into the vault to bring back a part of Cleveland history. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of TV20 Classic Sports.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 1993 Muni League Cleveland Browns Football Championships. I'm Chris Ortez. Alongside with me, as always, my partner, Tim Wells. We're coming to you from John Marshall Field here on the west side of Cleveland for the 1993 championship games. We have two ball games here for you tonight. In game one, we have the PeeWee division. We have the Sims Raiders, and they'll be opposed by the Pal 6 Football Club. Tim, 43 teams participated this year, over 1,000 players. And you got to be pretty proud of the fact that year in and year out, you see the participation just grow and grow.
Yeah, that's a tribute, Chris, just not only to the league officials, but to the many volunteers and the coaches. Word has got out in Cleveland that there is youth tackle football, and you can walk around in your neighborhood, join a team, and get involved. And we've had some great people behind the scenes that made that happen.
Tim, as always, every year we talk about this, keys to the game. Let's talk about Pal 6 first. Let's talk about some of their players, where they stood as far as defense and offense went during the past year.
Well, when you look at Pal number 6, they were number 1 in offense in the league, but they were number 3 in defense. They only give up 13 points all year, but it's deceiving. They beat the defending champions last year. The Cleveland Warriors lost to them 13-0, but came back in the playoffs to win 7-0, which you have seen 2 straight shutouts for them to get in a championship game tonight.
How about the Sims Raiders, Tim? They have an outstanding quarterback, a young man. No, excuse me. That's over for Pal 6. Sims Raiders have a quarterback by the name of David Schultz, but they have an outstanding running back, a young kid by the name of Brandon Childress.
Well, you know, we talked to the coaches before the game of Sims, and, you know, he had said to us, well, you know, what's going to have to happen? He says, look, we've got to establish a running game. Our way of getting here tonight is the running game. Brandon Childress is one of our key running backs. He's got to play big for us to have any chance to win here tonight.
But for Brandon Childress to have a large game, Tim, defensively for Pal 6, they got a young man by the name of Hassan Brown, arguably the most dominant defensive lineman in the league. You've seen him play. Is it worth calling him the most dominant player in the league?
Well, you know, when you talk to the coach and he says, hey, he's the best in the league that I've seen, that's a tribute to the kid. But, you know, really when you look at the keys to this game, Pal 6, I talked to the coach before the game, and he said to me, look, our defensive line has to stop the Sims trapping game. Hassan Brown's going to have to be a big part of that. Secondly is we have to score early and make Sims play from behind because they're not an explosive offense. He also said, look, we don't want to give it away. We come in here strong. We got to limit our turnovers, and the record has shown that they haven't done that. Also, they said the only concern he has is I don't want to let Sims get into a ball control offense. So on that side, that's where Pal 6 stands. On the other side with Sims Raiders, they want to also control the ball. They realize they're going up against one of the best quarterbacks in the league, so they want to keep him off the field. They also believe that the defensive line is going to determine who wins this ball game. And finally, they feel that they are going up against a big quarterback, so what they're going to try to do is they're going to try to contain him. They're going to try to give him everything in front, nothing deep, and make them use up the plays.
Okay, we have one of the best nights we've ever had for this Muni Football Championship games. It's about 50-something degrees here at game time, and we'll be back with the ball game right after we take this time out and the introductions of the players. Okay, welcome back to John Marshall Field for the Cleveland Browns Muni Football Championships. We're just about ready for the introductions of the players, and here's Nate Mumphrey.
Number 1, David Schultz. Number 3, William Smith. Number 4, Stefan Fisher. Number 5, Damon Glimt. Number 6, Dan Jackson. Number 7, Richard Paul. Number 8, Keith Boone. Number 9, Damian Bridget. Number 10, Brandon Childress. Number 32, James Stover. Number 34, Samuel Gorham. Number 42, Gary Rand. Number 44, Jamon Walker. Number 50, Martin Robinson. Number 51, Waib Wakil. Number 62, Anthony Smith. Number 64, Carl Smith. Number 66, Lamar McKenzie. Number 67, Jermaine Bowie. Number 68, Kim Horton. Number 70, Gerard Hale. 72, Ronald Williams. 74, Charles Craig. Number 75, Parrish Davis. Number 76, Dominic Harris. Number 82, Fred Haith. Number 84, Clarence Kirkpatrick. Number 86, Robert Gambrell. Number 7, Milan Hubbard. This is pal number 6. Number 8, Jermaine Bennett. Number 10, Richard West. Number 12, Maurice Lee. Number 14, Michael Owens. Number 20, Jeffrey Black. Number 21, Michael Ham. Number 22, Javar Pates. Number 27, Edward Wells. Number 30, Hassan Brown. Number 32, Jason Walker. Number 34, Patrick Washington. Number 42, Raymond Wilson. Number 50, Eric Bates. Number 52, Gerald Whitsett. Number 53, Irving L. Walker. Number 54, Montez Van Buren. Number 60, Jamar Young. Number 61, Brian Barnes. Number 63, Cornelius Harmon. Number 83, Antoine Wells. Number 87, Jeremy Westbrook. And number 89, Kevin Price. Okay, ladies and gentlemen are now rising for the playing of the national anthem. It would be done by Mr. Joe DeJarnay. Joe is a recreation instructor out of Glenville Recreation in Cadell, and he has been teaching music classes to the kids in the city of Cleveland. Mr. Joe DeJarnay. Mr. Joe DeJarnay from Glenville and Central Recreations did us our honor with the national anthem. And Chris, as we get ready for the start of the PeeWee Championship games, maybe we can take a look at the officials are now getting out for the coin toss. And the officials that we have tonight are Mr. Head Referee will be Mr. Larry DiMardo. The umpire will be Mr. Al Siamaka. The line judge will be Jerry Jones, and the field judge will be Marty Fliss. There are our 4 officials, and we'll be going down to them momentarily as we're getting ready for the coin toss.
Tim, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the 2 head coaches for these ball clubs. PAL 6 head coach Mr. James Walker. This is his 4th city championship appearance, 7 years in the league, in the Muni League. And over with the Sims Raiders, Mr. Then Fisher, this is his 3rd city championship appearance and 4 years of experience in the Muni Football League championships. Mr. James Walker, he's won a PeeWee title in 1990 as an assistant coach. Not a lot of experience here, Tim, with these 2 coaches, but they've been around the league for a long time and they know what it's going to take to win this football game here tonight.
Okay, Chris, we'll see if we can go down and catch up with our head referee for the coin toss.
A white captain, you come up. If I call for a red captain, you come up, all right?
See, Larry DiMardo.
Now, you're the visiting team tonight, so you're going
instructions
to call, all right? I have a silver dollar.
to our players.
Right.
PAL 6 will be in the red tonight. Sims Raiders will be in the white.
Right? I'm going to flip the coin in the air. You call while it's in the air, and I'm going to catch it. If I should drop it, we're going to do it all over again, all right? Now, you call. He called a head. A head was called. It is a tail. You have 1 to toss. Do you want the ball? Do you want to defend the goal?
You want the ball.
You want the ball, okay. Now, what goal do you want to defend? You want to defend that goal right here? Okay, fine. All right, just stay right the way you are, guys. Red has 1 to toss and is going to start on offense on this side of the field. Okay, now, fellas, let me tell you something now, all right? This is the last game of the season. This is the championship game, all right? You've played how many games? If the guy goes down, don't hit him again, all right? The whistle doesn't have to blow. We don't want anybody to get injured, all right? Now, play the best game you've ever played in your life. Play it tonight, okay? And let's have a good one.
Well, we can see there the players shaking hands, getting ready. PAL 6 winning the toss. We'll start with the ball first. Again, Chris, maybe a reminder to our viewers that may be watching this for the first time, there are no kickoffs in the Cleveland Browns Muni football program. They'll be starting with the ball on the 35-yard line.
Well, a lot of these kids, Tim, go 115 pounds. You notice one of the first things the referee said to him is, don't hit the guy when he's down. We don't want anybody to get hurt. Just have a good time out there, and hopefully the best team will win. We're about ready to get started here at John Marshall Field for the 1993 Cleveland Browns Muni Football Championship game. This is the PeeWee Championship game. We have a bantamweight, and that'll be right after this ball game here tonight. Tim, without a doubt, the best weather we've had in the last 4 or 5 years. This is perfect football weather, and these guys got to be pretty excited, and as you can hear, the fans are too. PAL 6 will be on offense, and they, of course, got Mr. Maurice Lee, top quarterback in the league, 5'6", 113-pounder out of the School of Science, 7th grader, and he's wearing number 12. Okay, here we go. 1993 Cleveland Browns Muni Football Championship game. 7 minutes to a quarter. PAL 6 first and 10 at the 35. Up the middle, about a 3-yard gain. That was number 34, Mr. Patrick Washington, 5'4", 117-pounder out of Nathaniel Hawthorne, a 6th grader. Second down and 7, 3-yard pickup.
You know, one of the things that the Sims coaches had informed us about handling the running game was that the linebackers were going to be involved, and Sam Gorham picked up the first tackle of the ball game.
There's another handoff off right tackle, breaks the tackle, and he takes it up to the 43-yard line. With the carry, once again, Patrick Washington. So the first 2 plays of the game, Patrick Washington gains 7 yards. We're going to have a 3rd down and 4, 6:05 to play first quarter here at John Marshall Field on a beautiful night for football. Maurice Lee brings them up to the line of scrimmage. Got a 3rd down and 3, they're calling it now. And Lee, here's a handoff off the left tackle, and he's got the first down. That's number 20, Jeffrey Black, 5'1", 95-pounder, 7th grader. And first down and 10 for PAL 6. .536 to play. First quarter just getting underway here at John Marshall.
Well, Chris, you can see here the early game plan from PAL 6 is, hey, we're going to try to establish the running game. We also saw that there was some opening on the outside, and you may look for PAL 6 to use some of their speed.
And we got an infraction, looks like encroachment.
We have a false start, red.
Got a false start against the offense, so that'll take them back 5 yards. First and 15. The ball on the 40-yard line. PAL 6 goes back on offense. They got a trip set to the right, single back. And Lee with the handoff up the middle, good yardage. And he gets about 6 yards of it back. Gonna be a 2nd down and 9. Patrick Washington with the carry. That's his 3rd carry of the ball game already. 2nd and 9, 4:42 to play, first quarter. We'll set the offense for you up in a few minutes here. Of course, Maurice Lee is at the quarterback. And he's got Richard West at wideout along with Mylon Hubbard. Patrick Washington in the backfield with Michael Ham and Jeffrey Black. 2nd and 9, trip set to the right. And we got movement once again. Tim, right now looks like a little bit of the jitters. Players a little overpumped.
Start, red, still 2nd down.
Well, when you look at the PAL 6 team, even though they are talented and they have a great offensive line, a lot of these players, this is a first appearance for them in the championship game at the PeeWee level.
Maurice Lee sends trip set to the right again, single back. Here's Lee with the fake. He's going to run with it, and he breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle. He's finally knocked out of bounds at about the 43-yard line.
Well, you can see that Martin Robinson got a hold of him, couldn't keep up with him, and it was also number 76, Dominic Harris from Sims Raiders, that came up and eventually knocked him out of bounds. So you have a player down here injured.
Looks like one of the players from the Raiders, Tim. And we'll keep it right here. I want to talk a little bit about Maurice Lee, Tim, a guy that you and I talked about before the ball game. You seem pretty excited about him. You've seen some pretty good players in this league, but you had some glowing reports on him. You really like him a lot.
Well, you know, first of all, Maurice Lee was the 5th leading scorer in the league. He had 6 touchdowns during the regular season. This is his 3rd championship appearance, which tells you that he's a winner. He split the first 2, so this will tell the difference. And one of the things that really impressed me is when I talked to some of the coaches that had gone up against this quarterback, they said the difference in the ball game is not Maurice Lee, just his running ability, but his arm, that he is capable of throwing the ball 35 yards downfield with no problem. So, I mean, you're looking at a kid that's probably on the verge of a process to becoming into a great high school player. Maybe 2-3 years down the line, we'll see him in the high school ranks.
Well, he's 5'6", 113 pounds for a young man. Really, you know, 115 pounds to be able to throw a football 40 yards. You can kind of like project that. Where will he be, you know, by the time he's a 10th grader? Talented football player. I know you like him a lot. 3rd down and 12. Ball at the 44-yard line. 3:54 to play first quarter. And that's number 86 for the Sims Raiders. Walking off the field, Robert Gramble was the guy that got hurt. And of course, the rule says if you have an injury, you got to at least sit out 1 play. He's 4'10", 98 pounds. He goes to St. Thomas Aquinas, a 7th grader. Plays wide out in defensive end. 3rd and 12 at the 44. We got a full house backfield, tight end on the left, and we got a flag down. A lot of enthusiasm in the stands tonight, and I think a big reason for that is the people aren't freezing this year. Last 2 or 3 years, we've had temperatures in the 40s. It's about 52 degrees at game time.
See the coach putting a little spray on him, loosen it up, get ready, here we go.
Full house backfield. Here's the handoff from Lee to Patrick Washington. He breaks up for about 5 or 6 yards, but it's not going to be enough for the first down.
Again, it was Big Sam Gorham coming up from the linebacker spot from Sims. We've called his name quite a bit already here on the first series. Sam's an honor roll student at Roxborough Elementary School. He also is not just a player that does it on the defensive side. He has scored 5 touchdowns for his team during the regular season. And when we talked to the coach, he kind of told us that Gorham plays like Rod Woodson. He's an aggressive hitter. He can really dominate.
Got a 4th down and 13. Ball on the 43. Lee sends another trip set to the right. Lee back to throw for the first pass of the game. A long bomb, and he had him, but he overthrew him at about the 25-yard line. And there he showed the arm strength, Tim. He flickered the wrist, and he threw that ball about 40 yards in the air.
Well, you know, we have seen these 2 teams play a couple years ago in the championship game, and it was basically, hey, play 8 men up on the line of scrimmage. Sims Raiders can't do that tonight. With that quarterback, they're going to have to play back, and they're also going to have to be aware of the PAL 6 passing attack.
Very impressive arm strength. And the Sims Raiders will go on offense. And they'll have David Schultz, number 1 at quarterback, Richard Paul, Robert Gramble, the young man who was injured. They'll be the wideouts. Stover, Childress, and Glimpf will be the running backs. Have a lot of motion in their offense. First down. Here's Schultz with the handoff and tripped up. And that is number 5, Damon Glimpf with the carry. He picked up a yard, 2nd and 9, ball at the 42. 2:45 to play here in the first quarter at John Marshall Field. The 1993 Muni Football Championships, sponsored by the Cleveland Browns. 2nd down and 9. White out to the left. He's got a full house backfield. Schultz, he fakes the handoff, being rushed, and he's going to be brought down for about a 1-yard loss. That was number 61. Brian Barnes with the tackle.
Well, you could see there that the PAL 6 defense shifted into a 4-4, and it was the right call. Sims Raiders was trying to get to the outside, and you saw the speed of Brian Barnes. Coach had told us about how tough this kid was. They kind of considered Brian Barnes and Hassan Brown as the Jerry Ball, Michael Dean tandem for their team, but you could see some speed was shown there by Brian Barnes in his first sack of the game.
3rd down and 10, a loss of 1. Minute 39 to play, first quarter. Schultz under center. And he's going to hand it off right up the middle. That's number 34. That is James Stover, the fullback. And it's going to be 4th down and 6. Picked up 3 yards on the play.
Well, Chris, it looks like both teams are trying to establish some kind of a running game. And you can see here that the line of scrimmage, both are trying to establish who's going to win it. And I think it's going to come down to maybe a fourth quarter who has the resilience, who's got the stamina to carry their team.
As always, you win it in the trenches. 4th and 7. They're in the tee. Here's a inside handoff, and that's going to go nowhere. Great play on defense. That was number 20, Jeffrey Black, linebacker. He smelled that one.
Jeffrey is a 7th grader out of Kirk Elementary School. He also is the 2nd leading scorer in the league. And of course, his favorite player is Lawrence Taylor. You can see right there why.
He smelled that one all the way, wasn't fooled at all. And the ball goes back to PAL 6. They'll go on offense at the 44-yard line. Their own 44. 32 seconds left to play. First quarter, clock running. 1st and 10.
Again, for our viewers, these are 6-minute or 7-minute quarters in the first game. In the bantamweight, the second game, there'll be an 8-minute quarter.
Full house backfield. Lee with the handoff right up the middle. That's number 20, and he's still running with the football, and he takes it down to the 48-yard line. Jeffrey Black with the carry. Makes a great defensive play, comes back on the first carry. And that is the end of the first quarter here at the 1993 Muni Football Championships.
There's their 5-2.
Okay, welcome back to John Marshall Field. 2nd down and 2. And Maurice Lee with a handoff to Proctor Washington up the middle. And he's got a good gain here. Takes it down to the 40-yard line. 1st down and 10.
Again, on the tackle, it was Damon Glimpf, number 5. When the safety's coming up and making those kind of stops, it tells you your offensive line is starting to open some holes, and they're getting to the linebackers.
1st and 10. Ball at the 39-yard line. Picked up 7 on the play. And Lee again with the handoff, Patrick Washington, but the play is stopped. We got a flag on the play.
We have a false start. Offense.
It's illegal
still
motion
first
against
down.
PAL 6. So it'll make it 1st down and 15, and the ball will sit at the 44-yard line.
Well, Chris, so far you look at the mistakes that are being made, it's the PAL 6 offensive line. We've had 3 penalties so far. Both times it's been false starts. So I think once they settle down and get in the groove here and quit hurting themselves, they'll be able to sustain a drive.
First and 15, ball at the 44-yard line, 6:12 to play, second quarter. Maurice Lee, the quarterback. And it's a quarterback sneak right up the middle. Lee with a little bit of running room, and he's going to be, and he's still running with it, and he's brought down at the 47-yard line. Loss of 3 on the play. Took the snap, ran right up the middle with it. Saw nothing up the middle, tried to bounce it outside, and there was nothing there.
Well, we see that Pal has called a timeout. The Cleveland Browns are an integral part of our community, and we had a chance to catch up with the owner of the Cleveland Browns, Mr. Art Modell.
The Browns are known for giving back to the community. Can you tell us about it?
Well, we're the as I understand it, you can check this out, but I was told that we give more to the United Way than any other company in Cleveland based on the number of employees that we have on a per capita basis. We lead the NFL in charity giving by thousands and thousands of dollars over the years. I believe very strongly in reinvesting in the community and doing charity work. I'm proud of the appearances our players make gratis. Some don't make it gratis, but most of them do. They go out. I'm proud of our program that we conduct here to try to help the schools, help keep the kids off the streets, help eliminate the gangs. I'm financing Jim Brown's program in Cleveland to get involved themselves in the gangs and try to reduce that effect on society. So we're very proud of what we've done over the years, and we'll continue to do it as long as we're financially able to do so.
How do the players become involved in the community?
Well, first of all, we start off with the premise that maybe it's the Cleveland community, maybe it's the Browns organization, maybe it's the quality of life, but we have more players living here year-round than any other team in the NFL, which is number one. So once they're part of the community, their wives become part, their children, and they become involved. And we ask them to do as much as they can. We can't order it. We can't order a player to go out and make an appearance, but we know who the ones are that would do it anytime we ask.
How did Muni Tackle get its start?
Well, you're talking about the Muni Football Association. The late Dr. Sam Gerber, who was county coroner for dozens and dozens of years, came to see me at my office one day and asked me would I make a financial contribution to help sustain the Cleveland Muni Football Association. I said I would love to, which I did. I said, I think I have a better idea. Why don't you change the name to the Cleveland Browns Muni Football Association so it gives the kids a closer identification with the Browns. So the kids did. They picked player names that became the John Wootons, the Jim Browns, the Leroy Kellys, and so forth.
What do the Browns get from their involvement with Muni football?
It's a matter of satisfaction, gratification, that they're contributing to the children of this community. I'd rather have the kids in organized football than running the streets looking for, well, you know what? We don't want that. So if we can keep them off the streets, keep them organized, keep them competitive, keep them healthy, that's more than we can possibly hope to do.
When you were a young man, did you participate in programs like Muni football?
No, there was no. We didn't have that kind of program in Brooklyn. We were shooting pool.
What future plans do the Browns have for community programs?
As much as we can do, as much as we can get involved. And we have been involved. We'll continue to be involved as long as I own this team. I think it's a vital, vital necessity that every professional team be part of the mosaic, the landscape, part of the fabric of society in Cleveland.
Well, we're back live, and we had a chance just to hear from Art Modell and how true it is. The Cleveland Browns have been a big part of the community and as well as the Muni football program.
We've got 5:48 to play in the first half. It'll be 1st and 16 at the 46-yard line.
You know, we're looking at here at Coach Fisher. You know, one of the greatest things I think about a coach is when you know that they're giving back. You know, I remember Coach Fisher years ago. He was a player in this league. He played for Sims Raiders, and now we come back down the road, and here he is as a coach of one of the teams. And I think that's a tribute to the coaches that have gone on and played in our league and now have come back and gone on as a volunteer coach and given back.
Here's Lee with the handoff. And that was Jeffrey Black with the carry. And Black took it down to about the 44.5-yard line. It's going to be 3rd and long, 3rd and 14. And they're marking the ball at the 44.5-yard line.
The credit has to go to the Sims defense. They have hung tough here. It was number 32, James Stover, on the last play that came up to make the stop.
3rd and 14. Trip set to the right. Single back. And Lee's gonna throw it. And he's being rushed. He rolls left, gets away at the 50, 45, 40. Nice move. 35 down to the 32-yard line.
Well, again, Chris, I can understand what the coach from Sims said. Look, we need to contain him. That's one of the things. If we can keep him in the pocket, he's not going to be able to use the speed. And you can see there, that's one time where the defense broke down, and you saw the athletic ability of the quarterback, Maurice Lee.
Made a great move at the 35 to pick up about 3 extra yards. And it's going to be 4th down and 4, ball sitting at the 33-yard line.
Again, we saw in that play, the tackle was made by number 34, Sam Gorham, and he's listed as the linebacker on the left side, so you saw his ability to cover a lot of the field.
They got a full house backfield, 2 tight ends. Lee with the handoff right up the middle, Patrick Washington, and he's not going to get it. The Sims defense came up big, Tim.
It was Parrish Davis, number 75, 6th grader out of Wade Park, came up big. And the coach had told us, hey, he's the leading tackler of our team, and yes, he is our Reggie White. He's the guy that we count on to anchor that defensive line. And you can see there the quickness that he showed getting off the ball and into the backfield.
3:55, clock running, 1st and 10, ball at the 41-yard line, and the Raiders go on offense. David Schultz, the quarterback. He's got a pretty good running back himself, Brandon Childress, number 10. Keep an eye on him. And Schultz with the handoff right up the middle, nothing there. Number 34, Patrick Washington with the tackle. 2nd down and call it around 8.
Well, again, Chris, I think the Pal 6 defensive coaches have came up with a scheme. Hey, look, we're going to stop the run. If they're going to beat us, David Schultz has to beat us, and they're going to have to throw it. And right now, you can call it a 4-4, you can call it an 8, but it sure looks like everybody's up on the line of scrimmage, and that they're basically saying, hey, we're denying the run tonight.
No, well, they're basically they're daring Sims to throw the football. 3 minutes to play in the first half. Got a full house again. Receiver to the left. And here's Schultz once again with the handoff right up the middle. There's a little opening, and he takes it up to the 40-yard line. That was number 34 with the carry. James Stover, the fullback.
And again, Chris, we look at the 34s and 34s. Listen, Sam Gorham with the run and Patrick Washington with the tackle. And again, you can see those two guys have been coming at each other all night.
3rd and 3, ball at the 40. Big play for Sims. And there's another handoff, and we got a flag down. He would have had the 1st down. It's against the offense. The official just motioned.
Dead ball.
Illegal motion. There it is.
False start. Offense. We still have 3rd down.
Well, this is the first time we see
got
Sims
3rd down and 7.
puts themselves in a spot. Here they could have had a 1st down. 3rd down and short. Now makes it 3rd and long. And I really believe the type of offense that Sims wants to run, that they're not going to be able to do that. They can't make those mistakes. They're going to have to establish at least 4 yards on the 1st down to be able to sustain a drive.
3rd down and 7. And Schultz with the handoff up the middle. They're not going to get it. That's going to bring up a 4th down. Pickup of 1. Minute 50 to play, first half.
There's the guy we talked about before the ball game, number 30, Hassan Brown. You know, the coach from Pal 6 says, I believe I have the best lineman in the league on the defense, and he can dominate the game. Yet on the other side, we hear the coach from the other team saying, this is my guy. So far, it's been Hassan Brown and Mr. Gorham battling it out in the trenches.
We got 4th down and 6. Ball at the 37-yard line, T in the backfield. Receiver to either side. Schultz back to throw. Fires over the middle. It's intercepted. And Pal 6 is going to bring it back. Still running with the football. And he's at the 40-yard line. And he's finally brought down at the 36.
Well, Chris, we had talked about it all night. Pal 6 says, look, you're going to throw the football to beat us. That was the first pass, and it's the first turnover of the ball game. The other thing that was impressive is, there he is, I hate to say it, Maurice Lee showed again the ability to break tackles, the ability to get outside, the ability to show some speed.
A good idea, Tim, to be playing him at free safety without athletic ability. Can cover a lot of ground. And you saw it there, he basically just playing center field. Picked it off, brought it back a few yards, and Pal 6 goes back on offense, and they're at the 38-yard line. They're going to mark it at the 38. He got tackled at about the 36. They gave him the forward progress. 42 seconds left to play the first half. And we welcome you to John Marshall Field. We're having a good time here tonight, as you can hear the fans. Good crowd here tonight. Trip set on the right. Lee with the handoff up the middle. Patrick Washington, he's at the 50. Down to the 46-yard line. And they stopped the clock, I believe, to move the chains. It'll be 1st and 10.
And it was Damon Glimp that came up and made the stop. But you saw the power running of Patrick Washington.
Clock is running. Now they stop it again. We got 20 seconds left to play in the first half, and there's the official. And we got an injury down at about the 45-yard line. Tim, you were talking earlier in the broadcast about the coaches, and the players pretty much said about James Walker, they said they remember as a coach that made them believe in themselves and help build character. And you being a coach yourself, you can understand what they're talking about.
Well, you know, when we talked to the coaches, we had said, you know, when you walk away from your career as a coach, what do you want to be remembered as? And a lot of the coaches have come up with, you know, the philosophy, not about winning or losing, you know. Everybody out here wants to win just like anybody else, but it's a matter of giving back to the kids, teaching them lessons not just about football, but about teamwork, about discipline, and about life. And learning to deal not just with the disappointments and the successes, but both together. I mean, we know from the field of sports that there is going to be disappointment, but also on the other hand there will be joy and there'll be happiness. Right here we see number 5, Damon Glimp down, and he was involved in the last tackle. He's a 6th grader out of Forest Hill School, 5'1", 99 pounds. Tough kid. He's also involved in boxing at Glenville Recreation Center, and we see the coaches attending to him. His favorite player, when we talked to him early in the week, was Emmett Smith. I think he felt Mr. Washington was like Emmett Smith coming at him.
You can still see they're attending to him. But Tim, I want to touch on that a little bit more about sports being a microcosm of society, and it pretty much teaches you about life, and it's so true. You know, it basically teaches you that you're not going to win all the time. You're going to get knocked down, and the real champions are the ones that get back up and keep plugging along. And basically, I think this is at the, you know, they're at the age now where that's where they're learning. They're learning all about life right now. One of these teams is going to lose tonight, but believe it or not, sometimes you lose more by, I should say, you learn more by losing than you do winning, because it really teaches you about the character you have inside of you. And I must admit to you, Tim, that's a big reason why I enjoy doing these games, because I guess you and I being two old fogies right now, you know, it makes you feel young all over again.
Now we're taking a look at the Sims Raiders cheerleaders, and we're going to be letting you know later in the telecast they had a cheerleading competition on November 12th at Glenville Recreation Center. And Chris, I'm telling you, I was very impressed. It was dynamite. And we'll be announcing who the city champions were of the cheerleading competition for the Muni football program later in this telecast. But again, you know, we've been talking about the teams. But, you know, I think the girls go through the same thing, you know, of teamwork and the coaches working with them and being involved in sports. And it's not just, you know, the football players. It's the cheerleaders, the coaches, the volunteers, the league officials. They all have to mesh as one to reach a successful program, and I think it's a tribute.
There you see the fans. They're enjoying themselves tonight. I should say this year, 1993, the last 3 or 4 years, I'll tell you, it was cold. Pretty relaxed. And you can hear the enthusiasm from the fans. The field in pretty good playing condition. And nobody's really bundled up tonight. There you see him again. Our camera crew doing an excellent job as usual. There's Bernie Kosar leaving Cleveland.
Well, Chris, you know, the Browns organization, you know, they have a coach over there that has a system. He believes in it. And we wish Bernie the best wherever he goes. He's given a lot of great things to Cleveland. But, you know, you have to look at it on both sides, not just Bernie, but you also have to look at the Browns. And it's evident that Coach Belichick has come up with something that he believes in. And the owner has given him the green light that we're going to give him time to do that. So I'm sure Bernie understands it was just a decision made by the organization, and he'll grow and he'll go on and be a great player.
Maurice Lee with a little flip. That's Patrick Washington, 50, 45, outside, 40, 35, 30, down to the 28-yard line. And the clock stops with 11 seconds. Beautiful call. Maurice Lee with a little flip to Patrick Washington. He had great blocking in front of him, and he took the ball for about 20 yards. They got a 1st and 10 at the 29, 11 seconds left to play in the half. Got a trip set to the right, single back, Lee back to throw, looks over the middle, and he almost had him. Let him a little too much. Can't get the number on that one. That was Michael Ham. Off his fingertips. We got 3 seconds left to play. Tim, let me ask you, Lee, is his arm good enough to get it in the end zone on a Hail Mary here?
Well, I believe so, and I really think that the timeout that's being called right now is for that purpose. Hey, let's take one shot. You know, the play before that, we saw Patrick Washington with some speed and show the power ability. But you know what really impressed me was number 30, Hassan Brown. You saw him come out. He threw one block. He kept coming right down. He was in front of Washington throwing another block when the tackle was being made. You know, and there's not too many linemen that you see doing that today in football. So we've talked about Hassan Brown on the defensive side, but we also saw his ability as a blocker on that play that sprung Patrick Washington for nearly 20 yards.
Hassan Brown, offensive guard, defensive guard, 5'6", 117 pounds. He's a 7th grader at Euclid Central. And his favorite player, believe it or not, is also Emmitt Smith. They call him the best lineman in the league, the most dominant lineman in the league. And you can see why. He also has tremendous athletic ability. He got out on that little flip to Patrick Washington. 2nd down and 10, ball at the 29. And Maurice Lee has a trip set to the right, and they're going to run it. Reverse, ball is fumbled. And falling on it is the Sims Raiders, and that's going to end the first half. So we got an official timeout on the field with no score here at the 1993 Muni Football Championships between the Sims Raiders and PAL 6. We'll be back right after we take a timeout. Okay, welcome back to John Marshall Field for the 1993 Cleveland Browns Muni Football Championships. Some halftime stats. No score here between PAL 6 and the Sims Raiders. Some of the halftime stats, rushing the football. PAL 6 has had a big first half. Patrick Washington has 60 yards rushing in only 8 attempts. For the Sims Raiders, Mr. Stover, James Stover, has 4 carries for 11 yards. Neither team has completed a pass. We've had 1 interception. That was by Maurice Lee. No score here at halftime at John Marshall Field. And we're going to go to my partner, Tim Wells. He has one of our sponsors from Rally's Hamburgers. And as much as we've been ranting and raving about Maurice Lee, he also has a pretty good quarterback in the midget division. Tim?
Well, Chris, we've seen some great quarterbacks here in the PeeWee game, but we have a very special one here tonight. And I'd like to introduce one of the sponsors that's been a big part of this. It's Rally's Hamburgers and the Director of Marketing, Jennifer Armstrong.
Thank you, Tim. On behalf of Rally's Hamburgers, I'd like to say that we're very proud to sponsor the Rally's Offensive Player of the Game. And for the first game, I'd like to present it to the all-star quarterback, James Reese. Congratulations.
Well, James, midget division city champion. Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you did to get the honor of being the offensive player of the game today?
I don't know.
What play did you call?
A 17 keeper.
And what happened on that keeper?
I scored.
Then what did we do on the extra point?
Threw an extra point.
What was the final score?
7-6.
Yeah, it was the midget division that played earlier today, and they beat the defending champions. So the city champions in the midget division are the East 97th Street Bulldogs, and Mr. James Reese was selected as the offensive player. Well, now we're going to go back and see more of second half action here in the PeeWee Championship game.
Okay, welcome back to John Marshall Field. We're about ready for the second half. No score here between the Sims Raiders and Pal 6 for the Muni Football Championship game. Officials about to get them ready. We want to thank the people from Rally's Hamburgers for supplying us with some halftime chow here. All the gentlemen up here in the booth enjoying it thoroughly. Got a little bit of a hold up, Tim. And
yeah, I don't understand, Chris, what the holdup is. But I'm sure our director, Hank Picterna, will inform us what the delay is. Will be momentarily underway.
okay, here we go. First down and 10, ball at the 35. And Lee back to throw. Yeah, he's being blitzed. He's going to run with it. 35, 40, 45-yard line. That's a first down. He picked up about 10.5 on the play. Quarterback Maurice Lee.
Again, you saw number 76, Dominic Harris, come up and make the tackle. He's a 7th grade student at Euclid Central, honor roll student, defensive tackle. Coach told us before the game he's going to be one of the keys to stopping the Pal 6 running game.
Up front, Maurice with Cornelius Harmon at left tackle. Jason Walker, number 32 at the guard. Eric Bates, Hassan Brown, and Brian Barnes from left to right. Ham, Washington, and Black in the backfield. And they're all back there right now in the full house. And we got a fumble, and Pal 6 gets the football right back. A little trouble on the exchange between Lee and Jeffrey Black. It'll be second down. They actually picked up yardage on the play. 2nd and 6. 6 minutes left to play here in the third quarter, no score.
Well, Chris, you know, you talked about Pal 6 in the running game at halftime, but you can see here, Pal 6 first time up, picks up a first down, comes out, picks up 4 yards. Seems like they're getting into some rhythm here. And we've been calling Jeffrey Black. He is the 2nd leading scorer in the league, and he has found the end zone 11 times.
2nd and 6. Here's another handoff up the middle, nothing there. And he takes it up to about the 49-yard line. And that was number 34, Patrick Washington, with the carry. So it's going to be 3rd down and 6. They're going to spot the ball at about the 48.
Going to look like number 3, William Smith, coming up on the tackle. Coach had told us he's a tough inside player on the line. And he loves to be challenged. I'll tell you, Patrick Washington will give him all the challenge he wants.
Well, his coach, he says he's a great power inside runner, a Kevin Mack type runner, and he showed it right there. You got to hit him low. You try to tackle him high, he's going to carry you about 3 or 4 yards. 3rd down and 6, ball at the 48, 4:47 to play, 3rd quarter. And here's the end around, and he's in trouble. That's Black. He's at the 45, and he's going to be brought down. A 3-yard loss. And that was number 10 on defense for Sims.
Brandon Childress, Chris.
Brandon Childress, the fine running back, and he showed his defensive ability right there.
Well, the cornerback on that side, Brandon Childress, and the defensive end, Robert Gambrell, number 86, they should be commended. They stayed home. They saw the reverse earlier in the ball game that caused a fumble, and this time they were ready for it. Nice job by the Sims defense.
So it was 3rd and 6. We got 4th and 10. That was a loss of 4. Ball sitting at the 45-yard line. They got to get to the Sims 45. No score on a beautiful night for football here at John Marshall. He's got double receiver on the right. Maurice Lee with the handoff and another end around, and they smell it again. That was number 76.
Dominic Harris, 5'4", 118 pounds, out of Euclid Central, has come out again here in the second half. Coach said he's the key to stopping him, and we've called his name twice here already in the second half. Defensive tackle.
Coach says our best defensive tackle, and he calls him the key to stopping the PAL 6 running game, and I would say he lived up to it on those last two carries. The Sims Raiders will go on offense, Timmy, and Coach Than Fisher has got to get something going. He's got to get a running game going because it's obvious his quarterback, Schultz, doesn't have the arm like Maurice Lee, so he's got to get a running game going to have any kind of chance of moving the offense here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, we can see the PAL 6 coaching staff. But truthfully, Chris, you know, this is the first time Sims has the ball here in the second half. And I truly believe from what we have seen from early indications is that the game on the offensive side of the ball for Sims is going to be in the 1st down. They have to pick up 3 or 4 yards on 1st down. They get in a 2nd and long, a 3rd and long. They don't have the passing attack to be getting into those long yardage situations.
Well, David Schultz is the QB, 5'2", 95 pounds. Not a big boy from Clonlara, the 6th grader. He came up from the midget quarterback. But the coach says he's a proven leader and a very coachable player. And that's probably why he's playing the quarterback position. They come out in the T. And Schultz with the handoff up the middle, nothing there.
Number 30, Hassan Brown. Name sounds familiar.
We've been saying it all night, Tim. I think the people out there watching this are starting to see why the people were saying around the league, best defensive lineman in the league. He cannot be blocked by one man. Go ahead, Tim.
And again, you know, Chris, you see here, the defensive line on both teams has played extremely well. I mean, both defensive lines have risen to the occasion.
No pickup on that play. 2nd and 10, the ball at the 38. Schultz under center. Up the middle, big hole, Childress. And he's still fighting for yardage, and he's close to a 1st down. I think he's short by about a yard, about an 8.5-yard pickup. It's going to be a 3rd down and short. Brandon Childress, 4'10", 104-pounder out of Randallwood, 6th grader. And you saw his slashing type style he had there, good speed. I talked to the coach before the game, Than Fisher, and he told me we got to get the football in his hands, and he does the rest on his own. Sends both receivers, one to the left, one to the right, T in the backfield, tight end on the left side. Schultz under center. And handoff up the middle, number 34. That is Samuel Gorham.
Chris, it looks like PAL 6 has made some kind of adjustment at halftime, because what I'm noticing now is at the last play that PAL 6 is playing off the line. They're about 1 yard off the ball, which in the first half they were playing up. And that might have a lot to do with the trapping game that they're trying to deal with. But right now you're seeing that Sims is establishing a running game. And yes, I said you need 3 or 4 yards, you get shut down, and what do? They come back and get 8. So they're risen to the occasion.
That was a first down carry by Gorham. 1st and 10, ball at the 27. Schultz got him moving. And we got movement on the right side, and that's going to be against Sims. Looked like the right guard.
False start. We have a false start. Offense.
Ayub Wakil looked like he moved.
15.
Why is it linemen always get their names mentioned in penalties?
Well, Tim, supposedly they're not skilled players, but I've always maintained, Tim, games are won and lost in the trenches. I think it's the most important position on a football team, and that's the offensive line. I think you can control a football game if you have a dominant offensive line. Ask Mark Ripien in Washington. He'll tell you. Now we got a 1st and 15, the ball at the 33. Handoff up the middle, nothing there, about a 1-yard pickup, if that. And that was that man again, Tim, Hassan Brown.
We're watching the Hassan Brown show, really in live color here at John Marshall Field, it seems like. The defensive lines have really come up and played tough here tonight.
There you see Pal 6 in the red, the bright red uniforms, the Michigan Wolverine type like helmets. And there's Sims Raiders. They wear the gold, white, and green, Cali green. 2nd down, 14. That was a 1-yard pickup. 17 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and the clock is running. They're in the tee. Schultz, handoff up the middle, big hole. And that was number 34, Gorham again. That's probably going to be the last play of the 3rd quarter. Clock still running. Down to 1 second, and that's it. That is the end of the 3rd quarter here at John Marshall Field. The Sims Raiders nothing, and Pal 6 nothing. Let's take a timeout. Okay, welcome back. 4th quarter, final quarter here for the Muni Football Championship. Tim Wells along with yours truly, Chris Ortez. We're having a good time. We hope you're enjoying it. 7 minutes left to play. We got a 3rd down and 7, ball sitting at the 25-yard line. No score.
Well, Chris, you noticed toward the end of the 3rd quarter, Sims was starting to run on the right side. Something's happening. Who's over there doing the blocking?
Well, you got Dominic Harris, number 76 at right tackle, along with Ayub Wakil, number 51. And, of course, it all begins with the center, Parrish Davis. Schultz under center, right up the middle. That's Childress spinning, and he's close to a 1st down. He's short by about 1.5 yards. 6:59 to play.
Down at about 12.
And we got a penalty flag.
You know, really, Chris, you look at this game, it's been played relatively clean. Very few penalties. Matter of fact, I think all of them have been false starts, which is a credit to the coaching staffs of both teams, that they've had their teams well prepared coming into tonight's ball game.
Main thing is, like the official said before the game, Tim, we want no personal fouls here tonight. We got a 3rd down and 12 after the penalty. That was an illegal procedure. Schultz up the middle. And that's Gorham with the carry, the fullback, the 5'5", 109-pounder. And he took it down to the 25-yard line, pick up a 5. It's going to bring up 4th down and 7. Reporting in for Sims, number 86.
Well, this is a big play. You got a 4th down, Chris, and 7?
4th down and 7. They got to get the ball to the 18, Tim, about the 18.5. And this is not Schultz's strength, is throwing the ball. He's throwing, and he's hit as soon as he threw the ball, and that's Pal 6 is going to get the football back on offense. Guess who, Timmy? Number 30.
Hassan Brown. You know, Hassan Brown has been in there all night long. You know, and Brian Barnes, the guy next to him, has really put a lot of pressure on as well. You can see both of them there, not giving Sims quarterback time to throw.
Hassan that time shot the gap. He did what Michael Dean loves to do. He likes to shoot a gap Shot it and was right in the face of Schultz as he tried to throw the football, and Schultz didn't have a chance. We got 6 minutes and 14 seconds left to play in the ball game. No score here at John Marshall Field. A field in pretty good playing condition. I got to believe now, Tim, Maurice Lee's got to take over this ball game. He's got to make some big plays. And they're staying in that full house backfield. First down and 10. Ball sitting at the 25-yard line. And Lee right up the middle, big hole. That's number 21, spinning, still going. And he takes it up to the 30, about 31.5-yard line.
Again, that was Michael Ham, number 21. Was the ball carrier, as you had mentioned, Chris, and the coach had said that Michael was the inspirational leader of the team. He's the guy that kind of keeps us up, and he's like an Eric Metcalf. He's not going to win any battles in the trenches as far as taking on those linebackers, but we're trying to get him through and break him to the outside. Again, you saw the Sims linebackers coming up, preventing that.
Hence the number 21. His favorite player, Eric Metcalf. And Lee brings him up on the line of scrimmage again. Second down and 4, ball sitting at the 31. Here's Lee with the handoff up the middle. Football is loose, and Pal 6 jumps on it. And Tim, if he hands on to that football, he has a big hole to run through.
There he is, number 30, Hassan Brown. Now we've had Pal 6 come out here and fumble the ball once prior to the half, and they recovered. Twice already the second half, and they recovered. So maybe turnovers could play a role here in the fourth quarter.
They actually picked up a couple yards. It's going to be third down and 3. And the ball is at the 34-yard line. 4:47 to play in the final quarter here at John Marshall for the PeeWee Muni Football Championship. Got a lot of sponsors here tonight. Cleveland Browns, Rally's Hamburgers. They took care of us at halftime. Got a third down and 3. Lee back to throw. He's rolling right. He's going to run with the football, and nothing there. Great play by number 86 for Sims.
We saw number 86 come up, Robert Gambrell, 7th grader out of St. Thomas Aquinas. Merit Roll student, citizenship, plays school basketball. He's got great hands, and he showed some athletic ability. Again, the Sims wanted to contain, and so far, except for the one play, they've been able to do that to neutralize the speed of Maurice Lee.
Tim, doesn't he remind you of a guy that played on national TV today? Charlie Ward. Lee up the middle, big hole. And he's got the first down, I believe. And with the carry was Patrick Washington. Patrick Washington showing his power. And he gets the first down. They got a first down at the 41-yard line. 3:30 to play. Pal 6 has got to be thinking to themselves, Tim, that they got to score here because they're probably not going to get the football back if they give it up here. First and 10, ball at the 41. Got a full house. Now they 2 tight ends set. He splits a receiver to the left. And Lee up the middle, big hole again. Patrick Washington takes it up to the 46, a 5-yard pickup.
It was Jermaine Bowie, number 67, that came up and made the tackle. 7th grader out of Lincoln Jr. He's also a merit roll, plays a little bit of baseball at the Glenville Youth Athletic Association League over at Glenview Park during the summer.
A lot of motion by Pal 6. Here's a fumble, and there's a flag down. Play is stopped. And they're going to call offside on the offense. You saw the official with the signal.
We got encroachment, offense.
And again, for our viewers, Chris, we are following the Ohio High School Athletic Association rules. So this isn't like professional football where you can jump and come back. Once the youngster is in the neutral zone, the officials are to blow the whistle and penalize.
So that's a loss of 5. So it'll make it 2nd down and 10. Ball on the 41-yard line. 2:19 to play, clock running. No score. Lee brings them up to the line of scrimmage. See a lot of motion, full house backfield. There they go. 3 guys on the right, trip set, single back. Lee back to throw. Steps up, fires long, he's got a man open. And he threw it on the outside shoulder. He had him open. And the intended receiver, I believe that was Michael Ham, number 21. I correct that. That was Jeffrey Black, number 20, streaking down the right sideline. And he had him, Tim. He had him open if he hits him in the numbers.
Yeah, he got behind Clarence Kirkpatrick, number 84 from Sims. He was on the coverage. He throws the ball inside. He might have a catch, and he's gone.
3rd down and 10 at the 41. Minute 56 to play. Trip set again on the right. Lee back to throw. Right over the middle, and he had him open. That was Ham. He had Ham wide open on the post. And he threw it behind him.
4th down, 4th down.
Tim, I have a question. Maybe a dumb question, but nobody scores. They do have overtime.
We're going to OT. And we'll be following the high school rules, and if we get into that, we'll explain to the viewers how it actually will work, where we'll be starting on the 10-yard line.
Okay. Obviously, you gotta play until somebody wins. This is for the whole ball of wax. Muni Football Championship. Lee, here's a little flip. And that's Washington. Same play, 40, 45, 50, 45, down at the 43-yard line.
Well, that's the first time we've seen that play today, where they've got the ball out in the flat, couple linemen out in front, like more or less like a little screen to the left, and got Patrick Washington, who's one of their strongest runners, with power to get out there and try to beat those cornerbacks. Big first down, keeps the drive alive.
That gives them a 1st down and 10 at the Sims 44-yard line with a minute 41 to play, and the clock is running. Got to believe here that Lee's going to put the ball up, because if the ball is incomplete, at least the clock stops until they reset the football. Right now, that's their worst enemy, is the clock. A minute 25 and running. And here's the handoff up the middle, big hole. Patrick Washington, 40, 35, 30, out of bounds at the 32-yard line. A draw play. Lee with 3 straight completions, set up the run. And it worked perfectly, Tim.
Well, you could see there that the Sims head coach, Sten Fishers, was worried about the outside running game, and it opened up inside for him. He was signaling to his players, outside, outside. Let's keep them in the middle of the field. Don't let them get outside. And you could see there was a great call by the offensive coach, James Walker.
Let's give credit to the offensive line, too, for the PAL 6 football team. Barnes, Brown, Bates, Walker, and Harmon up front.
Looks like we have a penalty on the play.
Red.
There you see the fans from Sims Raiders applauding that call.
What down is it going to be?
Life of a referee, always please somebody. They had called a hold. That was the early indication from our referee today, Larry DiMardo.
1st down, right. Okay.
The officials are now talking.
Now, Tim, I tell you what, I remember when you officiated basketball, you didn't please too many people, if I remember right.
I think that's why I retired.
They used to have to escort you out of the gymnasium.
Well, you know, really, when you think about the officials, Chris, our officials that have worked these leagues, it's not just a matter about officiating a game. Like you had saw before the game, Larry DiMardo took time. Hey, don't pile on, guys. You know, this is a city championship game. Play great, you know, play with some style and class. And I have seen throughout the year where the officials have taken time to explain to the youngsters, to explain to the coaches what the calls are, what they're doing wrong, so that the coach can go back and correct it during the week. We see Coach Fisher talking to the official. Marty Fliss. And I'm thinking Marty's explaining it to him.
We had a hold. All right, back over there.
A little stoppage in play here. They're trying to explain it to Coach Fisher down on the sideline.
All right, so we go.
And it's not just one coach on the other sideline. Coach Larry DeMardo and his crew are explaining to the other coaches. So both coaches are currently being informed right now of the call and why the yardage was marked off.
About 13, right. All right. Yeah, see, they
now, you know, Coach Fisher says, I really don't like this, but hey, Coach, they moved him back. Feel great.
Play, it keeps going.
Ben Fisher probably feeling a little pressure. This is his third city championship appearance. And he should feel a lot of pressure wearing that Michigan Wolverine jacket down there here in Buckeye country. And, you know, Tim, this is 4 years experience in the Muni League, and he's lost both previous appearances. So this is one he wants. He wants to make sure everything's right.
Al.
We got a first down and 10. And the ball is sitting at the 47-yard line, minute 18 to play in the ball game. No score. We got two receivers in the slot, single back movement in the line, but fumble, the ball is loose. And I believe Sims has the ball, and they do. First down, Sims Raiders. Maurice Lee and the center, Eric Bates. Something went wrong, and the Sims Raiders with an opportunity now to win the football game with a minute 13 left to play.
Of course, we had talked about the earlier fumbles, and all of them recovered by Pal 6. This was the first turnover. It went to James Stover, number 32, a 7th grader out of Kirk Junior High.
Schultz brings them up to the line of scrimmage. They're a T in the backfield. Up the middle. Big hole. That's Childress. 40, 35, 30-yard line. Boy, did that hole open up, Tim. You got to give credit to the offensive lineman.
Geez, there are 20 guys yelling at me.
Well, again, Chris, we had said that the fourth quarter was going to be the determining factor with the offenses and the defensive lines who would have the stamina. And right now, we saw right there that Sims Raiders had come up. And if you're looking for a hole, this is when you want it. Sustaining drive, few seconds to go in the ball game. And Brandon Childress, his favorite player is Emmitt Smith. You can see right there, he showed a little bit of Emmitt Smith himself.
Well, Tim, you and I could have run through that hole. That was a humongous 25-yard pickup. And the Sims Raiders are in a position now with 47 seconds left to play to pull this one out and give Coach Ken Fisher his first Muni championship. First down and 10. Ball at the 30-yard line after the 25-yard run by Brandon Childress.
You know, one of the factors is, and it's very unusual, I've been around this league now for about 10 years, but this is the first person in the PeeWee division I've seen kick the football for extra points. Brandon Childress. He's had 2 of them. So I think right now, Coach Fisher may get down there where he can't get it in. Let's try to kick and see what happens.
Well, Tim, before the game, they were working on it. They had Childress kicking them through the uprights. First and 10, ball at the 30. We got man in motion to the left. Receiver on the left. Here's Schultz. He pitches out to Childress at the 35, and he goes nowhere. And I think we're going to get a face mask, Tim. There's a flag down, and I think we're going to get a face mask against Pal 6. And it is.
It was number 52, Gerald Whitsett, that came up to make the tackle.
Right outside the 30.
I don't know if it was a flagrant face mask. It could be 5 yards, Tim, but it's going to be a big one. 15 yards, I believe.
Well, again, Chris, as a reminder to the viewers, we're using the Ohio High School Athletic Association rules. Any face mask is 15. It's not like the pro rule. The other thing is, I noticed that the Pal 6 defense is now starting to blitz. So they're going to have to run outside, or they're going to have to pass to move it in here. But I saw a big pass rush by the PAL 6 defensive line.
1st and 10, ball at the 20. And Schultz with the handoff up the middle. Childress once again, he takes it down to the 15-yard line. 36 seconds, clock running. No score for the PeeWee Championship. 27 seconds. Schultz gets him back up to the line of scrimmage. 2nd down and 6. Pick up a 4 by Childress. They're in the T. Showing blitz. And here's a rollout to the left. 10, 5, down to the 3-yard line. David Schultz, the quarterback, 5'2", the 95-pounder. He faked the pitch, Tim. He took it down to the 5-yard line. And Coach Fisher's got a big decision to make here. Do you kick the field goal with Childress, or do you run one more play? How many timeouts? I believe they have 2 timeouts remaining, Tim.
Right, and they had 1 timeout called here. And this is going to be a tough decision to make. But again, the PAL 6 defensive line, big pass rush. There was no containment. We had talked about the running back, the running of Maurice Lee. Here's the first time we've seen David Schultz get outside, and he showed some athletic ability.
Sure did. Well, he faked the pitch. They ran the option. Faked the pitch to Childress. They've been running Childress up the middle. And he faked it to Brandon that time, took it up in there himself, and picked up about 15 yards. 1st and goal at the 4-yard line.
I believe they have 1 more timeout, so he may take 1 shot here.
Here they come, the Sims Raiders with a chance to win the PeeWee Championship. 1st and goal at the 4. Schultz. And he's going to throw it. And out the fingertips. That was number 86.
Robert Graham Bell, 7th grader, St. Thomas Aquinas. Coach told us, hey, he's got great speed and hands. And it was a great toss. Schultz threw it where he had to throw it, in the corner. There's only going to be 1 guy to catch it. It's going to be our guy. Great effort by number 86, Robert Graham Bell.
2nd down and goal, ball at the 4. And they're going to send 2 receivers to the left. They got Childress in the slot on the left. We got a T in the backfield. And he's going to throw a quickie, and it's incomplete. He tried Grambo again. 5 seconds remaining. 3rd and goal. Tim, I kind of question this a little bit. Childress got you down here. You got to, you know, why don't you give him a chance to win the ball game for you? Quick pitch to the outside, something like that, you know?
I think at this point they're feeling, hey, if we throw an incomplete pass, we got really 3 shots to get in. We might be able to still have time to go ahead and try a kick.
Well, we got 5 seconds left to play. 3rd and goal at the 4. And here's the pass up the middle to the 1. And I don't believe he got in. And we got a flag on the play. And the flag was dropped in the backfield, which usually means offensive holding. And you see PAL 6 celebrate. That's what it's going to be.
No penalty. They're waving off the flag that was thrown.
Well, that will end the ball game, Tim. We're going to go to overtime with no score here at John Marshall between PAL 6 and the Sims Raiders. And we'll be back. We'll bring you back right here for the overtime session right after we take this time out.
On the line of scrimmage, that's all. Huh?
Okay, welcome back to John Marshall Field for the overtime session for the PeeWee Championship. No score between the Sims Raiders and PAL 6. Tim, now that we have the opportunity, you might want to explain to the fans a little bit about the overtime rules after this first play. That was Maurice handing off. That was Patrick Washington with the carry.
Okay, what you're seeing now, Chris, is the overtime rule is similar to the high school rule. They'll start from the 10-yard line. They'll have a series of 4 downs. Now, right now, Pal 6 has won the toss, and they have started with the ball. If they score, Sims Raiders will still get their 4 downs.
2nd and goal at the 6. Up the middle, Patrick Washington again down to about the 2-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 1.
Again, you saw Sam Gorham come up to make the stop. It's been 34 and 34 all night long.
Well, how even can you get, Tim? Brandon Childress after regulation, 42 yards. Patrick Washington, guess, 42 yards. No score, about as even as you can get. Well played ball game. And we got a full house in the backfield. Lee, handoff. Guess who? Patrick Washington down to the 1, and he didn't get in. It's going to be 4th and goal from about the half-yard line.
Again, Al Siamaka, Larry DiMardo, inches away. This is usually Jeffrey Black territory. He's had 11 touchdowns. Maurice Lee has had 6 from this area. Patrick Washington, 6. Some people to watch.
They got a slot on the left. And Lee with a quick flip and touchdown.
There you saw it, Chris. It was Maurice Lee again to Patrick Washington. A little flare out. It was a great call as Sims was lined up to stop the run. We're not going to give him the inches. Let's throw it out in the flat, wide open, and he just walked into the end zone as Pal 6 takes the lead here in overtime.
That was all Patrick Washington on that series. 3 carries and now the touchdown reception from Maurice Lee. And it's 6-0. Pal 6 now leads the Sims Raiders. And the Raiders, as you said, Tim, will still get an opportunity themselves to score with the football.
Right, what we're seeing right now is a timeout was called because Pal 6 will have their chance for the conversion on the extra point. Again, for our viewers, if they run it in or they throw it in, it would be worth 1 point. If for some reason we're going to get a kick, which Pal 6 has not done all year, that would be worth 2 points. But either way, Sims will be given the opportunity for 4 downs, with the exception if there's a and Pal 6 recovers, then that would nullify the other downs and the game would be over. So we're in the first session of overtime. Pal 6 has the lead on a flare-out pass from Maurice Lee to Patrick Washington.
6-0. Pal 6 leads, and now they're going for the conversion. And Lee with the same formation, full back house. And Lee's going to roll left. He's going to run with it. He's got a little sliver, and he runs it in for the conversion.
Well, we've talked about Maurice Lee and running outside, and that Sims has to contain. Well, again, you see here it was him getting to the outside. They didn't contain. They pick up the 1 point, and right now the lead is 7-0 in favor of Pal.
Maurice Lee, he had 39 points during the regular season, 6 touchdowns. He was the 5th leading scorer in the league, and right there you saw why. It wasn't much there. With his tremendous athletic ability, found the hole, and he got through it. 7-0, Pal 6 in the lead. Now the defense, if they hold them here, they are the Muni football PeeWee champions. 1st and goal at the 10. Schultz. Here's the football. Now he throws a quick one over, and it's intercepted. And that's going to be it.
It's all over. It was a turnover, and the only one that Sims would make, but it was the big one. Pal 6. PeeWee champions. Looks like a lot of happy campers out there.
Just as happy as Pal 6 is, Tim. On the other side, the other sideline, a lot of unhappy young men. Well, we talked about it. One team had to lose and one team had to win. A tremendous play. They tried the quick post, And he read it all the way, and Pal 6 are the PeeWee football champions for 1993. We'll come back with the stats, and we'll pick our most valuable players on offense and defense after we take this final timeout.
Welcome back to John Marshall Field. It was a great game in the PeeWee Championship as it went to overtime. And right now we're going to meet some of those outstanding players that brought Pal 6 its city title. But first, to present the award is one of our main sponsors from Rallies, Mr. Eric Johnson, who is the marketing director of the local stores. Eric?
Thank you. On behalf of Rallies Hamburgers of Northeast Ohio, I'd like to present you gentlemen with Pal 6 with the Most Valuable Player of the Game awards.
Okay, number 30 is Hassan Brown for the outstanding defensive play. He was the leading tackler in tonight's championship game. And we have a co-offensive player, the guy that caught the touchdown, Patrick Washington, number 34. And the guy that tossed it was number 12, Mr. Maurice Lee. Quarterback. Guys, when we get a chance, we looked at the game. I mean, when you went down to overtime, what were you really thinking about? Come on up here, Maurice. As a quarterback, what were you thinking when the call came in, we're going to throw it? Is this your first championship game?
No, it's my third.
Third one. Any feeling winning this one compared to the rest?
Yes.
In what way?
We need to go overtime the rest of them. We went to overtime this one. I never went to overtime in the championship.
Okay. Patrick, come on in here. Patrick, you've been running the ball up the middle like a Kevin Mack all day, but this time it was your hands that did it. How did it feel when you caught the ball and you were thinking about where do I got to go with it?
Felt real good. Knew I had to get into the end zone. That's all I knew.
So you'll go down in the history annals as the guy that made the winning touchdown tonight. Feel pretty good?
Yes.
Okay, and Mr. Brown, Hassan Brown, you've been all over the field. My partner and I have talked about you through the whole night as this has been your show with defense. You and Brian Barnes really form a tandem in the middle. But have you thought about where you're going to play football after you're done with the PAL organization?
I'll probably play for Euclid High School.
Euclid High School? You getting good grades in school?
Pretty good.
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Got to have them both, you know. Well, congratulations, guys. Okay, now, Chris, let's take a look at how this really took place with all the stats that we had during the game and how we saw it together.
Well, some of the gentlemen you just talked to, Tim, Patrick Washington, young man standing right behind me, he had 54 yards in 9 carries. And Mr. Childress, unfortunately, he was on the losing end, 7 carries for 42 yards. No completions in the game. It was an outstanding game, 7-0. PAL 6 over the Sims Raiders. They are the Muni League championships for the PeeWee division. For my partner, Tim Wells, this is Chris Ortez saying we'll see you in game 2 right after we take this time out.
We hope you enjoyed today's game. Make sure you head over to our YouTube channel, TV20 Cleveland, and subscribe to get the latest videos. I'm Christian Patterson. Thanks for watching TV20 Classic Sports.